Arcade exclusives.
Hello and welcome to another Arcade Exclusives video where we look at some games that never left the arcade and hopefully recommend some games for you to check out on MAME. This time we're looking at a company that may not be as instantly recognisable as the others we've covered, IGS or International Games System. IGS were a Chinese developer based in Taiwan, founded in 1991. They released arcade games from 1993 onwards, and although you might not immediately recognise the name IGS, you may know some of their arcade games. Their most well-known series is arguably Knights of Valor, a scrolling beat-em-up series spanning 11 games, starting in 1999, and they're a lot of fun. Most of the games in the Knights of Valor series are arcade exclusives themselves, but we'll skip those to focus on some of IGS's lesser known games. Today we're looking at 6 of IGS's arcade exclusives, all but 2 of which have actually seen a recent release on the IGS Classic Arcade Collection available on modern platforms, but none ever got a dedicated home release. In 1997 IGS released the PGM arcade board or Poly Game Master. This had interchangeable carts mimicking Neo Geo's MVS system. Most of the games I'll mention here are PGM games. In fact, the only exception is this first game, 1994's Alien Challenge. Alien Challenge is a versus fighter with some weird and wonderful characters, very clearly a rip-off of Street Fighter 2 and not a very good one. It's not just inspired by Street Fighter, it has a few things blatantly ripped straight from it, like some of the speech and sound effects, and also some of the moves, although to be fair to it, most of them are nothing like Street Fighter's. There are 8 playable characters, some pretty generic like a ninja and a Chinese martial artist, some more out there like a werewolf and a flaming human torch-like character, and a shapeshifter who can morph into various things including missiles. Then there's the downright silly, like an American football player called Dougster who bashes opponents with his football. Dougster is an amusing name because it sounds like something Chinese developers would name an American jock. And some of the other names are hilarious, like the ninja's name is Jing Paul, and the shapeshifter is called Steve Areno, which sounds like a frat boy's nickname. All the moves are Street Fighter style too, so either variations on quarter circle or semicircles and an attack button, or charging moves. There are also special moves called desperation moves, which can only be performed when a character's health is below 25% and their health bar starts flashing, which is a nice little rubber banding mechanic. One thing I really dislike about this game and why they programmed it this way is beyond me. At the start of each round, each character leaps backwards to the edge of the screen. This removes one of the most interesting and competitive parts of the fight, the struggle to land the first blow. This is always a fun and tactical part of fights in a versus fighter, so it seems silly that they forced players to bypass it. Another weird addition quite unique to this game is food randomly drops in, like burgers, which restores some health if collected. There are some nice stylistic touches too though, like the werewolf character starting as a guy in a suit at the start of the fight, transforming into the werewolf. I do find it funny that he does this each round rather than staying in his werewolf form for the duration, thus potentially destroying 3 suits instead of 1. His tailor must be rich. But rather distressingly, once defeated, he turns into a puppy, so congrats, you just kicked a dog's arse. Alien Challenge is an okay Street Fighter clone for those who like that sort of thing. I assume by the name that some of these characters are aliens, but the addition of werewolf, American football player and ninja don't really align with that. I like to think of the characters as an alien's representation of humans, like they didn't quite get it right. Much like I suppose some of the characters are a Chinese view of America. Dodonpachi 2 B-Storm was released in 2001 on IGS's PGM system and is the only entry in the Dodonpachi vertical shooter series not developed by Cave. It's also the game that taught me that the Dodonpachi series was related to bees, with Donpachi and Dodonpachi meaning leader bee and angry leader bee. Many of the game's assets were lifted straight from its predecessor with only slight tweaks and palette swaps. Players choose one of 3 available ships or 2 in co-op, each with its own strengths and varying shot types and speed. Much like the previous games, the shot button can be pressed repeatedly or held for a strong, solid laser shot. But there's also another shot button which, when held, just fires your standard shot endlessly, handy, sort of like an auto fire without having to bash the shot button. Generally I'll hold down C for this auto fire shot and hold down A if I want a strong laser shot, as that still fires even if you also keep C held down. There's also a bomb button. This varies depending on which bomb type you choose, which is selected just after you pick your ship. This is either normal bomb type or laser bombs. The normal one is just like you see in most shooters. Press it for a huge bomb attack which temporarily makes you invulnerable. You can gain more by collecting these B power-ups with a maximum of 5 shown at the bottom of the screen, and the game has the normal power-ups for the weapon of course. The other bomb choice, the laser bombs, instead use an energy meter. You can fill this up and then unleash a devastating laser attack. The 3 ships also have various options which fire in different ways, but you can actually change between any of the 3 option setups with any ship. There's a button to press to change, which does make you briefly exposed, but it means you can mix and match. Pair your favourite ship with your preferred option arrangement. Brilliant. B-Storm is quite easy in the early game compared to its siblings, which is nice for those not great at shooters like me. Is it worth playing? I mean, it's more Dodonpachi, so if you like that then yes it is, or if you like bees I guess. The Killing Blade was released in 1998, another versus fighter. This one is 2 on 2. Unlike Alien Challenge, I think this one really leans into what IGS were good at, making games based on traditional Chinese characters. The 12 playable characters are all based on classic characters from Chinese history, set after the Mongol invasion. And there are some really cool designs for the characters. As the title suggests, it's weapon based combat. Each fighter has a unique weapon. These include various swords, a spiked mace, a staff, a whip. One guy is even equipped with an abacus as his weapon of choice. And love this little kid character with these rings, whatever you call those. This is only IGS's second versus fighter after Alien Challenge, and it's infinitely better. It clearly drew inspiration from other weapon based fighting games and has been compared with SNK's Samurai Showdown series, and it has 2 on 2 mechanics similar to Marvel's crossover fighters. Moves are quite a crazy mix. Some are classic Street Fighter type and some are more Tekken style button combos. There are 2 meters at the bottom of the screen for each player. The red meter is for offense and the blue for defense. The red offense meter fills up as you attack and take damage. Once at least half full, you can tag in your teammate, but doing so reduces the meter. Once the meter is full, you'll be able to perform a special move, and the button combination for a move will be displayed above it. The blue defense meter is filled by blocking incoming attacks. Once this is full, you can perform a combo move. Although still a bit goofy in places, I think the Killing Blade has a lot going for it. Some of the designs and animations are really cool. It's certainly a step up from Alien Challenge. A later revision of the game is also on MAME called the Killing Blade Plus, which makes the boss characters playable and also tweaks the 2 on 2 mechanics to be more in line with Marvel vs Capcom's setup. One of my favourite IGS games is certainly Demon Front, released in 2002. This is a run and gun, IGS's answer to SNK's Metal Slug. Now, while it doesn't quite reach the quality of the Metal Slug series, it certainly shouldn't be discounted. Firstly, the similarities. Well, it certainly looks like a Metal Slug, doesn't it? The cartoony pixel art is gorgeous and unashamedly copies the artistic style of Metal Slug. The colours are vibrant, there's lots going on, great animation and superbly detailed backdrops. Love the look. It's also similar in gameplay. Walk horizontally and shoot anything that gets in your way. You'll encounter loads of enemies charging at you in various ways, and there will be intermittent boss characters of various sizes. There are 4 playable characters, and Demon Front can be played 2-player co-op. The characters themselves vary in appearance but don't offer much variety in terms of basic gameplay. The buttons are shoot, jump and shield. Each player has a standard weapon and various weapon upgrades can be collected in levels as one would expect. Now for the differences. There are no vehicles to pilot like Metal Slug. Instead, Demon Front introduces an interesting pet mechanic. Each of the 4 playable characters has a unique pet which can assist in various ways. They can attack enemies, help you glide or act as a shield for the player. Holding jump makes your pet help you float or glide through the air, holding shoot makes them do an attack, and pressing C transforms the pet into a shield until you press it again to deactivate. The pets can die, and will then be absent until the player next respawns. Performing close quarters melee attacks restore some of your pet's health though, which is handy. Although I said the playable characters don't offer much variety, where they do differ is with their respective pet. The levels are quite long, and at the game's start you have a choice between 3 of them, which is a feature I always greatly appreciate. This was great at the arcade because you could experience 3 different levels without having to pump a ton of money into the machine. Although it's not quite as good as Metal Slug, you could be forgiven for thinking it was a spin-off in the series. I reckon you could convince most people of that at first glance. It's just lacking that certain something that Metal Slug has. Still, an absolute blast, especially in co-op. If there's only one IGS game you try after watching this video, make it Demon Front. Martial Masters is another versus fighter. This one was released in 1999 in Taiwan before coming to Japan and North America in 2000 and 2001 respectively. This ups the graphics even more from the Killing Blade, looking pretty stunning. It's often compared to Street Fighter 3 visually, and it plays very much like Street Fighter 2. Of all IGS's fighters, this game is the easiest to pick up and play if you're used to the Street Fighter series. But rather than having weapon-based combat, this one pits fighters of varying martial arts styles against each other. The 12 playable characters are all inspired by Hong Kong cinema's martial arts films and all have a unique fighting style. Most of the characters have names that allude to their style in some way, like Drunken Master, Tiger, Crane, Scorpion, and the amusingly named Monkey Boy. But the characters all have a different look and feel, and the variety is richer than you might expect. The story is, in classic IGS fashion, set in China's rich past, should you care about a fighting game story. What I really like about it is, because all the characters are inspired by Hong Kong cinema, it's wholeheartedly Chinese. There are no over-the-top American characters or exaggerated American locations. It's all Chinese characters, Chinese-inspired locations, and variations on traditional Chinese music, and the game is better for it. Much like the late 90s Street Fighter games, there's a super meter in the bottom of the screen that fills up several times, allowing you to perform super combos, and each character has regular and special moves. The move list could be straight out of a Street Fighter series game, and there are some deeper mechanics at play here that are probably beyond my skill level, much like Street Fighter 3 to be honest. One thing I found with this game is that the opponent will sometimes do absolutely nothing if you don't attack, which is annoying. Although obviously quite derivative of Capcom's fighters, as many 90s fighting games tend to be, Martial Masters is fast paced, good looking and pretty damn fun. As the genre goes, it's certainly worth giving a chance. Oriental Legend is a side-scrolling beat-em-up / action game in the same style as IGS's own Knights of Valor or Capcom's Dungeons & Dragons games. This one is possibly the most well known of IGS's obscure games on this list. Released in 1997, it features 5 playable characters and supports up to 4 players co-op, and like Martial Masters, this also features a Monkey Boy. Subsequent versions, I think sometimes called Super Plus or Super Special, had a lot more playable characters, including bosses. Set during the Tang dynasty, this one delves more into Chinese mythology with a supernatural flair to the storyline. Each character has a distinct weapon, but they can lose it, in which case they'll use their fists. There are quite a few different moves in this game, some are like Street Fighter Hadouken-esque moves, and some button presses, and of course various basic attacks. As well as attack and jump, there's a button for special attacks, and you can hold it down to get a little selection screen for these special attacks and weapons you collect. Some are really OTT funny attacks, some are projectiles, some magic like Golden Axe. Crazy stuff like dropping buildings or Buddha statues on people, or summoning fire dragons. It's very silly, but in a fun, tongue-in-cheek way. Oriental Legend doesn't take itself seriously at all. Gameplay wise, although fun, it doesn't have the best hit detection, nor the worst to be fair to it, and enemies can feel quite repetitive. But the playable characters do add some variety. It's really hard actually. The music is okay, nothing special, art is decent enough, but something about the game just feels a bit cheap. It's never going to hold its own against the best in the genre like Knights of the Round or Dungeons & Dragons, or even IGS's Knights of Valor. Oriental Legend also received a sequel in 2007 which looks loads better graphically, is far more fluid, has more playable characters and fixes some of the small niggles with the original, so if you have the option, play that one instead. So that was 6 of IGS's arcade exclusives. Have you tried any of these, or do any of them tickle your fancy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. You can catch the rest of the arcade exclusive series in this playlist.